What's goody good? It's your boy Fonzie Neutron representing BatTheOnline.com. Join with the big dog, Floss Angeles, aka Floss Mode. What's good with you, Ken?
Oh man, I'm all the way west with it. What's good? What's good? What's good, family?
Hey, what's up, man? We definitely appreciate having you tap in on this one. We want to be looking at a couple of West Coast legends, a couple of Macs out of Oakland, Mac Dre, and also Mac Minister. So we kind of want to look at the tail of these guys. Maybe starting out with Mac Dre. Obviously, yourself being out there corresponding on the West, you're probably more familiar with some of these guys' legacy.
Oh man, Mac Dre, man. Rest in peace to the Don Mac Dre, man. You know what I mean? We getting stupid. Go stupid. Go stupid. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to Mac Dre. He was definitely one of the four founders of the Bay. You know what I mean? I'm big with the Bay. You know, I take it back to the 11-5 and Coog Nut and all of that type of things. You know what I mean? RBL Posse and Three Times Crazy, E40, Loonies, Drew Down, the whole shit. You know, Mac Mall, Mac Dre, the whole shit.
So I mean, when did you first come across Mac Dre? Was it before we was doing the Fizz Nation stuff or afterwards?
It was I got a whiff of a Mac Dre like around the time of Thizz Nation. You know what I'm saying? When he was doing Thizz Nation, he was definitely a character, and he was original. He was of his own. You know what I mean? He was like, you know what I mean, like, you know what I mean? You know, when you go to the Bay, you know, they jack they slack and pop they collar and all of that. But I remember watching it's Thizz Nation, and the nigga was out there acting like he was sniffing, and all of a sudden the camera go, hey everybody, hey. You know what I mean? So he's definitely hilarious. You know what I mean?
He brought a lot of character to the West Coast music as well, which was heavily associated with gangsterism. Not to take anything away from himself and stuff like that, but yeah, definitely, as you said, just bringing that kind of animated aspect and character, which kind of came out. I mean, when we looked at some of his early beginning, it says he was convicted for some bank robberies and stuff in the early 90s, bounced back after prison, and started getting into more of the music thing, moved to Sacramento and started Fizz Nation. And he actually opened the doors for like a lot of rappers and stuff out there at the time. I remember seeing a lot of releases coming out under Fizz Nation with a lot of different West Coast artists and stuff. So he definitely provided like a big platform and stuff. Unfortunately, his life was cut short
Mm-hmm.
um, in an incident that happened reportedly in Kansas City, I believe,
Mm-hmm. Yep,
on
happened.
October 30th, 2004. They say an unidentified gunman shot at a group of them when they were traveling, and he unfortunately caught one of the bullets and died.
Yeah, and you know what's funny, man? I have family in Kansas City, so you know when I first time going to Kansas City, and I think they got a street called Prospect or some shit. They shit is hood out there. Now don't get me wrong, it's hood. That's all I got to say. It's real hood. But I had heard about the killing that went on of Mac Dre, and it was funny because when I went to Kansas City, I was expecting to hear some southern rap or something like that. Even though they Midwest, it's like I was thinking to hear some they type of music or some southern. And when I went out there, all I was hearing was Oakland music and the Bay music and West Coast music. You know what I'm saying? So it was surprising to me why Mac Dre was killed. You know what I'm saying? He was like he wasn't, even though he was with the street shit, he was with it. You know what I mean? But he made being a gangster being fun. He was with the fun and the popping your collar and having fun and getting to the money and that type of shit. So I don't understand why his killing even went on. You know?
Yeah, definitely another unfortunate circumstance in hip hop. I mean, I don't believe it was officially ever solved, but they do say that a local rapper from Kansas City called Fat Tone, Anthony
Hmm.
Fat Tone Watkins, was alleged to have been responsible for it. There was no evidence that ever surfaced and no charges and stuff. And Fat Tone himself was actually shot and killed a year later, which kind of brings us to another Mac by the name of Mac Minister.
Oh yeah. Big up to Mac Minister, man. Hold your head up in there, brother.
Yeah,
Hold your
so
head up in there, man.
Mac Minister, he was, an artist in his own right, active from around the early 90s to mid 2000s, dropped albums. He had featured on a bunch of different albums. And he had the album The Minister of Defense. I should so it's kind of interesting when we look at his story and then how it ties in with Matt Dre, and he was allegedly responsible for the murder of Fat Tone, for the retaliation that they claim of Matt Dre, and he was arrested and has been serving time for it. But they said as of last year, it was actually reported that court documents were published to say that he's going to be granted a new trial because a key prosecution witness recanted his testimony and said that he only made the statements incriminating him in exchange for receiving favorable treatment for his own pending criminal cases.
Yeah, man. I don't know if they. I don't even think they have no like real solid evidence on dude. You know what I'm saying? It's just I think it's probably like a word of mouth. I don't know. I don't really don't know too much about the case, but all I know is that in the streets, dude is a legend. You know what I'm saying? And he got a lot of street cred. I don't know. I don't think he did it. You know. But it's a reason why he's in there. For some reason, they must have some evidence on him that we haven't seen or I don't know about or whatever, man. But I know he has a cold mouthpiece when he was doing music and he was in that studio. He had a cold mouthpiece with his aura. You know what I mean? But it's sad that he's sitting up in there trying to figure out what they're gonna do with him. They do need to give him a new case, and if they don't have solid evidence, they need to let him go, let him free.
Yeah, well, they say that how it stands, he could be in line for a new case if this goes through with this witness recanting his testimony. It could lead to a new criminal case.
Well, all I could do is just hope for the better for brother because what I mean, as black people, the streets talking, the streets is gonna talk. You know what I mean? Sometimes like people in jail, they know about what's gonna happen on the streets before the streets even know what's gonna happen. So he's just known as a hero on the streets. You know what I mean? Maybe he did some street justice. Who knows? I don't know. But they need to let their brother free. That's what they do need to do.
I mean, was you ever familiar with the other rapper Fat Tone?
I heard about Fat Tone when I was out there in Kansas City. Like I said, I was surprised to even hear any of our type of music out there. Even though it is Midwest, you know what I'm saying? They chose the West, I guess, for what type of style of music that they listen to in the cars they drive. And, what I mean? Shout out to Kansas City out there, the people out there in KC on both sides, the St. Louis and the Kansas side, I don't know, man. I heard about Fat Tone before. Matter of fact, when I was out there, he was alive. It's another rapper out there too that was big out there. I forget his name, but Fat Tone was one of the people that I did hear of when I was out there in Kansas City, though.
Okay, is it what's the guy's name? Tech Nine? Is he from out there?
Yeah, that's what it was. Tech Nine. Tech Nine is huge. Like I lived a lot of different places, so I lived in Colorado too, and so when I was in Colorado, Tech Nine was huge. He's one of I don't know, he's like one of the one of the biggest rappers that I know that you don't really hear about too much. Like he has like a huge white fan base. Shout out to Tech Nine too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's definitely been able to cultivate and build a huge fan base independently and stuff, even with the stuff he do with like strange music and I know what you mean. I mean, I saw him on tour out here in the UK, which was quite good maybe a year or so ago. Yeah, Tech, he definitely put it down. And I see what you mean. Like even when you were saying like they would probably had that West Coast influence, because when I first like heard Tech Nine myself, I presumably thought he was like a West Coast artist because of his style and his sound and stuff, and any Fat Tones and guys like them. But we had little bits over the internet and stuff, especially back in the day out here in London and stuff. But yeah, I thought some of those guys were like West Coast artists, But I suppose, as you said, Midwest, they got that same sort of style and sentiment as well as
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. I thought I was back home, and the killing and the shootings that type of shit that they got going on out there. It's a lot of killing and shooting going out there.
It's a
And
similar type of time.
yeah, remind me of LA. I'm like, damn, I was out there. I'm like, man, this sounds this it's really kind of it's familiar for some reason. I'm familiar to this for some reason. But yeah, it was cool out there, in Kansas City. But this one I want to know the details on Mac Minister. I want to know the details, what they say, what happened. Like they said, why did they have him?
Well, they don't really have much details, to be honest. It was just reported that they did charge him with the homicide and stuff, with, I believe, him and a friend of his with 2 counts of first degree murder and 2 counts of conspiracy to commit murder. The trial, they say, lasted less than a week, and both men received sentences of life without parole.
Mm,
They found bodies of the victims riddled with AK-47 bullets at a construction site outside the Las Vegas MGM Grand security cameras. They claimed they documented Matt Minister leaving the hotel with 2 men just hours before it had happened. Police immediately questioned him, but he went missing and he was on a 10-month manhunt. And they say the case was featured predominantly on America's Most Wanted before his capture on March 2006. So it's kind of
mm,
vague in terms of the case, what's out there publicly, but it appears that they definitely held him as a high possible suspect,
mm.
and then he
Well,
went
see
on.
now it makes sense. I don't mean to interrupt you. Now it makes kind of sense. Hopefully they'll still let him out and he does get a new trial. But now that I know the details of what's going on, first of all, number one, numero uno, if you're gonna do a crime, first of all, don't do no crimes, period. You know what I mean? But if you're going to do a crime, do it at a place where it's less cameras. I just came from Vegas. I used to broadcast when I used to be on the thing with you here, and I'd be in Vegas. First of all, that's the eye in the sky. This is a place where uh only time that you're not recorded, even outside, is when you're in the bathroom, and even then, something may go on to where they got some kind of special cameras or whatever. You don't do no crimes in Vegas. They gonna catch you. Nowadays, it's like you do a crime, there's so many cameras everywhere, somebody's gonna catch something. And it's funny because, you know, uh people used to get caught right then. If they didn't catch you then they're not gonna catch you. That's a wrap. You know what I mean? But nowadays, these cameras are everywhere that people will do a crime and they catch your ass months later. You know what I'm saying? So, man, I didn't know that. I do remember something like that. See, he was smoking a lot of weed, so I can't remember everything, but I do remember that Mac Minister was in Vegas and that did happen. You know what I mean? I'm shaking my head because I know about Vegas very well, very well. So I know that there's cameras everywhere. You're not about to get away with nothing in Vegas at all. Don't even come there. Don't even go there to do no crime.
Well, there you go. And I mean, this was 2008, but not to take nothing away from what you just said, because as I'm, pretty sure, even at that time there was high, security or surveillance or
Shit.
closed circuit television and stuff like that.
Yeah, even if it was 2008, they their camera systems was up to par before anybody's in the world. They shit is just like it was now. It just stepped up a little bit, but they camera systems was impeccable then. They could see two flies fucking. You know what I'm saying? Like if you in the casino, they can zero down to this close on your shit. You know what I'm saying? Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. They got people that specialize, that sit up all day, that have nothing else to do but do that and watch for little shit and just watch and watch and watch and watch. Even if they don't see nothing, their eye is so keen to watch and see anything. So, if they got you on camera, it's pretty much that's what it is.
Yeah, well, it don't sound like they have the incident or anything on camera, but they have them, I guess, somewhat in the vicinity or something like that, which, led to them wanting to question him and stuff. And hopefully he had a fair shake at his case. It doesn't sound like he did completely with this witness who sounds like they, you know, pushed to say it was him for whatever favor. We have heard stuff like that in the past with when it comes to like rappers and artists and people from the community in some cases where people have taken bribes and stuff to implicate him and stuff like that. So hopefully he gets a retrial,
Oh, some bribes was going on.
a fair shake.
Oh, some bribes, huh? Oh, now it turns into something else. Well, see, when that type of shit go on, then you need a new case. If some people is taking bribes and it's some extra shit going on, it's time for a new case. You know what I mean? So hopefully Mac Minister get out, man. Hold your head, Mac. Hold your head up, bro.
No doubt, man. So we definitely want to say salute to these legends. You know, Mac Dre, obviously, rest in peace. He
Go
definitely helped
stupid.
set a precedent for the West Coast music forward in his time. And you know, Mac Minister, as you said, you know, shout out to that brother. May he hold his head and
Oh yeah, and I want to give a shout out too. I want to give a shout out. Me to interrupt. I want to give a shout out. I know y'all been seeing me smoke this. This the new Stizzy. You know what I'm saying for the wax pen out here in Vegas and all that. It's called the Stizzy. It's better than the smoking. The cigars. It's bad for you. We've been smoking cigars for years, so a lot of people catch a cancer and stuff like that. I'm just on some health awareness. You know what I mean? So y'all go get y'all the Stizzy. It's good for you too.
no doubt, man. So where they can get that at?
You can go if like for those who have dispensaries in their city and state, all you got to do is ask for Stizzy. I think it's Steezy, Stizzy. You know what I'm saying? It's like they have them everywhere. They're global everywhere. So if you have a dispensary in your city and state, you know what I mean, smoke these. These is bomb. The Stizzy.
No doubt. So we're gonna wind this one down. Peace to the family. Salute, support. We're gonna be back with some hip
Yeah,
hop news and updates.
West with it. West with it.